What's up? It is week 5, and we have some bye weeks to contend with this week. For the first time this season, there are 4 teams on a bye, so there'll be some interesting things to talk about tonight. We got Chase Brown, we got some Dynasty buys, Tyler Warren, and we'll discuss our panic meter plus more. We obviously have our forgotten fantasy player. Tonight will be Chu's turn to do that. And of course, we'll kick things off as always with a nonsense draft. So let's get to it.
Going for 2, kickers are extra, I give them the boot. Ooh, going for 2, sit back, relax while I grab me a brew. Ooh, now I'm reclining while putting my time and I'm ready to go. My spine is aligning and much my lineups, my bank account grow. I am so rich, but knowledge is all that I'm leaving it with. Ooh, listen to this, multiple options, how far can I get? Ooh, DFS Dynasty redraft tonight, I'm not finishing last. I'm finishing past any and all, I am looking to last. What else? This spot is popping and I am so locked in and only opening the door when it is opportunity knocking. And all of these spots keep on talking and talking. So what are we talking? What kind of alignment? And running it deep, even players forgotten or came from the bottom or hitting that top. And this spot is popping, yeah, this spot is popping. And woo! This is the Armchair, yeah. Put up your arms, yeah. Sound the alarm, yeah, yeah, yeah. Woo!
What is going on, and welcome to episode 434 of the Armchair Fantasy Show. I'm your host, of course, Geoff Lambert. You can follow me on Twitter at GeoffLambert77. Of course, we're here every Wednesday night at 9:30 on the Going for 2 Live network. I'm here with my 2 co-hosts. To my right is Ryan Cearfoss. What's up, Ryan?
What's going on, man?
How are things for you in the football world?
Dude, I'm dead inside. I'm not enjoying football. I don't even know if I enjoy fantasy anymore. It's terrible.
Bad season.
But it's a bad season.
I don't know what's worse, like knowing my team is good, like your team, and being 1-3, or knowing my team is bad, like my team, and we're 3-1. Like I know we're not good.
Yeah, then you get excitement though. Exactly. I just get kicked in the nutsack.
That's true. That is true. All right, right below us is a fan of another team that's not so good. What's up, Chu?
What's up, guys? Just regular football. Just looking forward to next year's draft. Thankfully, we still have that pick. But I'm also a Red Sox fan, so talking about kicking the nuts, just watching the Yanks take game 2. So one more game, trying to win the wild card, hoping for the best.
All right, good stuff. All right, as always, if you're tired of long, boring drafts, try Fast Draft, the quickest way to draft and win cash in under 5 minutes. Perfect for your lunch break or the coffee line. Use promo code GF2 and get a 100% deposit match up to $50. Double your cash, double the action. Head to fastdraft.com. Use promo code GF2, sign up, and start winning today. Let's roll right into our nonsense draft.
Attention, everyone. Let's mock draft.
All right. Tonight we are drafting real-life celebrities to survive a zombie apocalypse with. And there is one caveat that I added, that when you pick this person, whoever it may be, you get them in their prime, right? So if they're 60 years old right now and you want them when they're 30, and you can do that, you get them in their prime of their life. So I took the 101 tonight. I don't think I've ever had the 101 in the nonsense draft, so it'll be my first time. So my celebrity was pretty easy because I had to get a guy that's is a little bit crazy, a little bit wild, hard to control. He's gotten older and he's a little bit more calm now, but in his younger years, in his 20s, he was pretty ruthless, and I got a drop for him actually.
I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been.
Of course, I'm talking about Mr. Mike Tyson. If we're in the zombie apocalypse, we need something a little bit with a screw loose, and Mike Tyson is that guy. So I'll take Mike Tyson here at the 101. Chu, you got the 102.
So I'm going to go athlete as well, but go maybe a little, I don't know if this is unconventional necessarily, but considering the totality of what he is, Bo Jackson. Tremendous athlete, strength. He also is a tremendous bow hunter. So I think kind of that element of like how that can actually apply, and him being just a freak athlete, assuming his hip was not pulled out of its socket at one point. I want that prime Bo Jackson.
Nice. I like it. And in the commercial back in the day that Bo knows everything, right?
Oh, yeah.
Bo knows
Right.
zombies, apparently. All right, Ryan, you got the 103.
So I am going an actor here, a man who not only has become the embodiment of the action movie, but does all of his own stunts and has military level precision and training with firearms, and that's Keanu Reeves.
Oh, nice. Not where I thought you were going, but I like it.
You ever see if you ever look at the training videos of him on the shooting range,
Mhm.
you'll know why I picked him.
Nice. I like it. All right, so I'm back on the clock at the 201, and I'm going to go with the guy that I thought Ryan was going to go with when he said he talked about the epitome of action movies in the 80s and 90s. He went on to be the mayor of California, but I'm taking Arnold Schwarzenegger here at the 102.
Very nice.
I think obviously super strong, but played a badass in a lot of movies, and I think in real life was kind of a badass too. So I think he'll fit perfectly with the zombie apocalypse theme. All right, Shu, you got the 102 or the 202 here.
All right, so I know it's a fake sport, but I'm going to go into the wrestling world, and I'm going to go Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Nice.
So in his prime, before his joints made him a much more rigid human being. I mean, just he's big, he's strong. I assume he will always have beer on him, which is going to be probably pretty needed in the zombie apocalypse. And another guy that's also has a bit of a hunting background too, so always helpful.
Nice, I like it. All right, Brian, 203.
See, Jeff, I saved this guy. He's actually my 101. And you were close to picking him, but you picked the inferior version of picking Arnold. It's Dolph Lundgren.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
He is a fourth-degree black belt, also a black belt in judo. He's an MIT grad, so he's a super genius, as well as a trained fighter, and massive.
Yeah, he's like 6'5" or 6'6", isn't he? He's like huge.
270.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
He's basically a supervillain or superhero, depending what country you're from.
Good stuff. All right, so my last pick, I'm going to go a little bit unconventional here. Thinking about long-term survival. We're not going to be able to fight all of our lives. We're going to need somewhere to set up camp and sort of rebuild the community. And I need someone who in the now world has a shit ton of money and a lot of assets. And I'm gonna take Mark Cuban here. I think with his fleet of helicopters and private jets and owning different things, I think we can set up a nice little community, build some walls, and survive the apocalypse for a long term there. So I'll take Mark Cuban as my last pick there.
Nice.
All right, Shu, what's your last pick?
Well, maybe in a similar vein, and he was almost my 101, but I wanted to get those athletes in there first. But I'm going to go Joe Rogan. I think certainly from the money perspective, that piece is there too. But certainly, I mean, I'm going to hear about a bunch of stuff that I may or may not care about. Everything will be in like 3 to 5 hour segments. But if I've got someone who can hunt, has a little bit of knowledge of everything, I think I trust that he can kind of keep us alive.
I like it. All right, Ryan, close us out here at the 303.
So I was gonna go super obscure off of somebody who's just been on my timelines for like other podcasts and stuff. I'm not gonna go there because nobody's gonna know the F I'm talking about. So I'm gonna go with complete wild card. I need entertainment. And I saw the movie This Is the End, and he's just a survivor. He might start his own cult. I'm going with Danny McBride.
Yeah.
Good stuff. I
Love that.
I like it. I almost went honorable mention. I almost went with Matthew McConaughey because he's going to bring the weed and keep us all relaxed and chill, and we won't be freaking out over zombies. So that was my honorable mention. All right, we're going to get into some fantasy stuff now.
Let's get ready for Armchair Fantasy Roulette.
All right, y'all know how this works. We're going to spin the wheel and see what pops up. We can get some topics here. Let's go ahead and get our first topic on the board. Right off the bat from FF Bird Gang, he says, we've reached a point in the season where you have to decide if you're going to continue to contend or pack up and rebuild. I don't know why this is listed as Puka Nacua. That might be a mislabel because this is actually Dynasty Rebuilder specific buy. So if you're in a Dynasty league and you are sort of giving up on this season and looking towards next year, he lists 4 guys here that he thinks are buys if you are a rebuilder. Joe Burrow, Malik Neighbors, Luther Burden, and Travis Hunter. Of course, Burrow and Neighbors are pretty much done for the season. Luther Burden is a receiver that could get some run next year after DJ Moore moves on, and Travis Hunter is still kind of feeling his way through the offense. So I'm gonna go to you first on this one, Shu. What do you think of these four guys? And is there another guy that you're thinking of that could also be in this range as well?
I like all these. I mean, certainly it helps. You're either looking for a stud who's hurt to where and is young enough to where like you're not going to get an Austin Eckler or something at this point. You're getting someone who is young to where once they return, their contract is fine. They're going to be there. It may take a little bit of time for them to really get back into things, like Malik Neighbors. As we've seen with a number of other receivers, it might take him a little bit of time to get ramped up. I think we kind of expect Burrow he might be back this season, is what they're saying, but probably for fantasy means little. Some other names I would throw out there. I'm trying to think of guys that maybe you could still get without having to pay too much. I'm still a bit in on Breece Hall, and that's kind of looking ahead too. I know that he's just continued to see touches. I guess Braylon Allen's out now, but Isaiah Davis and company. Alec Manor in Tennessee. I think he's the wide receiver one there. I don't love what the offense looks like, and I don't imagine it's going to get tremendously better. But for Dynasty's sake, I think he's good. If we're going tight end, I think Harold Fannin, plenty of people know about that, and no one's going to give him up. Rondé Gadsden would be one where, from the Dynasty community, I think people loved him. But I think he doesn't have quite the buzz as a Fannin or some of those other guys. So if you could get him, I think in a pass-heavy offense, that would be good.
Yeah, I agree with all of those for sure. And and the list that he has here is a pretty decent list as well. What about you, Ryan? What are your thoughts on the four guys he listed? And do you have anybody else you want to add to that list?
Yeah, I mean, it's solid buying anyone. I think buying any player who has a potential to start under the age of 25 is always a good thing. Also, go after some, maybe not like older vets, but vets who are struggling a little bit this year. Like, make it past at AJ Brown right now because everybody hates him.
Yep.
Go after Brian Thomas while he's at his low, because this funk, it's weird, man. It's worth taking. We saw his ceiling. It's worth taking a chance. Go after guys like that. Even Ladd McConkey, who we're going to talk about later. I don't think Travion Henderson has really hit the peak. I think you can still buy him at a little bit of a discount, even though he's starting to get ramped up. It's like younger guys who haven't got opportunities like that, who haven't got full opportunities yet, I think are all good to buy. Honestly, any of the rookies from this year in the wide receiver class too.
Yeah.
Like, it's like no one from this receiving class or this rookie class has really done that much yet. Go after any of them you liked. If you liked them before, nothing's changed that much. It's been 4 games.
Yep, absolutely. And yeah, you took mine because BTJ was on my list because you're right. We saw his ceiling last year, and I don't know what's going on there. I talked about it a little bit in the offseason that BTJ was actually better with Mac Jones than he was Trevor Lawrence. So maybe there's a chemistry issue there that hopefully they get fixed by the middle of the season, and we can see his potential again. But he's definitely someone that I'm looking to go out and buy as well. All right, let's get the next topic on the board. All right, this is our panic meter. These are just guys that you're a little worried about. That through first 4 games, maybe they weren't what you thought they were. We'll go to you first on this one, Ryan. Is there any guys that you are hitting the panic button on, or even just a little bit worried about?
Are we talking more dynasty or redraft for this?
This isn't redraft. This is more redraft.
This is more redraft. Some of the running backs I'm starting to worry about who we drafted a little bit higher this year who aren't getting the touches and are kind of not shining, like Josh Jacobs, even though he's gotten hurt recently. I'm getting worried. I am getting a little bit worried about Breece Hall. I know his volume's there, but that offense is so bad.
Yeah.
The Steelers' backfield, Jalen Warren's kind of dead to me. I don't think.
And anybody that was buying into Caleb, obviously you can give up on him at this point. He doesn't even seem to have a role at all in that offense.
No. And the one other one, oh my God, who was absolutely killing me. My brain just stopped. Go to Chew. There's a tight end who I have everywhere, and he's just not. Oh, K. Dotton. He was somebody I was fully in on, and I thought he was going to shine, especially once he saw some injuries. He's gotten no better whatsoever. He's done. Like, he's just pure gas for me.
Yep, I think I would agree with all of those for sure. In a redraft setting, I'm definitely worried about those guys. What about you, Chu? You got any guys you're worried about?
The only one that really sticks out is Chase Brown. I mean, the offense as a whole is atrocious, but I think even when Burrow was healthy, you saw how atrocious that offensive line was and how little Chase Brown could do, even given the lion's share of all of the touches, really, whether it be on the ground or through the air. And that was kind of the feather in his cap, was saying, right, well, I mean, he's got the PPR upsides. If he's not running too well, he can still get the targets. And collectively, that hasn't meant a single thing, especially behind Jake Browning.
Yeah, he was definitely on my list as well, and he might come up later on the show as well because I have him as a slide on the wheel. But
I saw his.
his name is up there for
And
good.
somebody asked me if I had interest, and I'd even look at the trades. I was like, no, legitimately. And this is Dynasty. I'm just like, no, I'm good. I went out on all that.
Yeah, agreed. Another guy that I'm worried about in that same offense, Jamar Chase, right? I mean, he was the 101 or 102 in almost every redraft league. And, they all talked about, don't trade him away. Don't panic when Browning is there because he had one good game last year with him when he was the receiver one on the week. And everyone was pointing to that one good game like, oh, he had 11 catches on 14 targets. That's what it's going to be like. And it hasn't been anything like that at all.
Because in fantasy, none of us have ever been burned by a small sample size. We know that.
Yeah.
With the Jamar Chase thing, he's also pulled two decent defenses in Minnesota and then Denver. He had Patrick Surtain on him. Like, that's a big gap. Like, that's top tier against Browning. I'm more worried about Higgins than Chase.
Yeah.
I think Chase will be just fine. He'll finish the year as a top 10 to 12 wide receiver easy. Still.
Fair enough. I was just scrolling through my list here to see the other names that I wanted to bring up. There's one name that he hasn't really. I mean, I know he's in an offense where he's the wide receiver 2, and it's an offense that wants to run the ball. But a lot of people are really high on Jameson Williams, and I haven't really seen that pop off just quite yet. I think it might still be there, but he's not really. If you were buying him this offseason, he's not really what you wanted yet. He's not quite involved as we would hope he would be. Amon-Ra St. Brown is still getting a lot of the work there, so. He's another guy that I have some exposure to that I'm not happy with right now.
Jameson Williams is new Tyler Lockett.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to have huge games, and then he's going to have duds. And at the end of the year, he's going to have 1,100 yards, and you're going to be like, how the F did he get there?
Yeah, you're right. That is a good, accurate call right there.
CJ Stroud's the other one I'm really worried about. I'm just like pulling ripcord on, but I feel like he's just been beaten to the ground.
Yeah.
But man,
there's that video going right now. It's kind of viral where he got sacked on a run play. Like, he literally got sacked before he could hand the ball off. It was ridiculous. And they slowed it down, and they have the offensive line on the right side. There's 4 guys blocking one guy, and then the 2 guys on the other side literally turn and bump into each other. And then the guy in the middle just goes straight through the line, and he's trying to hand the ball off, and he gets sacked. It's pretty brutal to watch right now for CJ Stroud. All right, let's get our next topic on the board. All right, this one again is from FF Bird Gang once more. This time he's talking about dynasty buys just in general. And he lists some guys we've already talked about, Brian Thomas Jr., Jamar Chase, but he has 2 guys that we haven't really talked about too much, Jalen Waddle and Ladd McConkey. Obviously, Waddle now has a little bit of a value boost because Tyreek Hill is out for the rest of the season, and then potentially out even more, and potentially not a Miami Dolphin next year at all. Ladd McConkey, he's also another slide on the wheel here that we might get to later on that we want to talk about. But of these guys here, anybody you wanted to mention that we haven't already mentioned, and do you want to talk about these 2 guys at all? We'll go to you first, Chu.
No, I mean, I definitely understand that with Jalen Waddle. I think that's whenever you see the injury, not that specific one, but when there's an injury during the game, you get to see the team's immediate reaction to, we have to adjust right now. I think that's not always the best indication as to what will happen going forward, because then they can plan and work around that. But that at least shows who do we trust the most to where we need to divert these touches to. And I think Waddle obviously was a beneficiary. Somewhat thankfully, Darren Waller finally decided to be healthy, although he's questionable once again. And stepped in, immediately was utilized in the red zone there, getting 2 touchdowns. And I think actually with that offense, and it might be one we talk about a little bit later here too, is Malik Washington. I know much, much cheaper. Someone who you can get who I think, again, is not going to be Tyreek Hill and have that role necessarily, but someone who he showed in his final collegiate season at UVA can be used all over the field, can catch at all different levels, has speed, is incredibly physical and tough for his size. So if you would like a discount player that, I would say likely be picked up from waivers in any redraft league, I would say Malik Washington would be another one on there on the same team.
Yeah, I love it. What about you, Ryan? Any thoughts on Waddle and McConkey? And then you have any more guys to add to that list?
I think Waddle's a buy. I think he's going to have one of his better years with Tyreek out, even though I trust nothing on that offense. But that team's going to have to throw because they're still a bad football team. Lad, I'm worried. I'm getting very worried. He's on this for later.
Yeah, he's got an interesting stat about Ladd McConkey later on if he shows up.
I just don't know if he's a buy for me right now, which really hurts to say 'cause he was fun. I think Marvin Harrison still. I think he's a buy. I think he's got a yuck on him that across the community when he's only a couple points away from being a wide receiver too.
Yeah, I agree. And that was that last game
Like
he played was sort of the epitome of his career so far, right? Through three quarters, he was like terrible, dropping passes, looking terrible. And then in the fourth quarter, he catches a touchdown and he kind of goes off in the fourth quarter. And everybody's like, okay, that's the Marvin Harrison that we hope to see. If he could just find a way to put together 4 quarters of that, I think he would be fine. It's just, I think he's in his head right now. I think the confidence isn't there.
no, and we're seeing this year what remember how to catch or learning how to catch for the first time does for a player. We're talking to you, Quentin Johnston. Um, like it's just that's the only real difference with that.
Agreed.
I think Matthew Golden's a buy too.
Yeah.
I know we mentioned the rookies receivers, but I think he's a buy at this point too. He's not really there yet as a rookie, but Dynasty buy. I like the idea of him.
And there's another cheap one that I like too. You know, Chu mentioned the cheap guys that you can probably get for almost nothing right now. I like Brashad Smith, running back for the Chiefs. Hasn't got a ton of work. His work's slightly increased each time. Isaiah Pacheco, unfortunately, I think he's never going to be a thing anymore. That injury must have really taken a lot out of him because I don't see it anymore. But Brashad Smith, if he can get his run, maybe by next year he has that full backfield to himself. I think he's an exciting player as well. So he's someone you can go out and probably get fairly cheap right now.
And
You might be. Oh, sorry.
no, you go ahead.
I say you might be able to get Woody Marks right now too before he completely takes over that backfield and it's a known name. I think you have like a 1 to 2 week window to get him.
What are you going to say, Chu?
I do think one thing I'd add McConkey, if it's kind of the devil's advocate to it, is we've seen them in crazy pass heavy, even in neutral situations. But one thing about both of the tackles being injured and Herbert not having the time to be able to drop back and be able to get it downfield, hopefully Ladd McConkey gets more opportunities in the short to intermediate and gets to generate some yak. So he might turn into maybe more PPR friendly, but that's really wish casting and hoping Herbert has less time to throw and he has to then throw Ladd McConkey, which it's creating a narrative that may or may not happen, but that's what I would tell myself I'm trying to buy.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. All right, now I wish we can get that Ladd McConkey to show up so we can talk about him some more because it's an interesting stat on. Look at that, speaking into existence.
There you go.
So this was from Addison Hayes at Amaze Hayes on Twitter. The fantasy community really liked it when Ladd McConkey averaged 7 targets per game in 2024. They loved it when he averaged 7.3 targets from week 8 through week 18 in 2024. Now the fantasy community hates it that Ladd McConkey is averaging 7 targets per game in 2025. So with all that said that we just said and kind of poo-pooed on him, he's still getting 7 targets a game. He's just not doing as much with them as he did last year. And obviously, it's a lot heavier pass volume, and most of the valuable passes are going to Keenan Allen and Quentin Johnston. But I'll go to you first on Chu. What is this stat here? Does this change your mind or anything about Ladd McConkey still getting 7 targets per game?
That is the funny thing. I didn't know the average, but when I was looking back, I was like, the targets aren't turning into what it was last year. But I was like, it's not like, when you see that he has like, what was it, 1 catch last week? I'm like, you look and it's like, it's not that he wasn't being targeted. It's just, it's not turning into what it was.
Right.
And yeah, they have the benefit of having people around them who, Johnson was there last year and everything. So like, and Keenan Allen was there not too many years ago. So like, they have other people that I would say just play their roles tremendously well. And I think the offense has been able to work how they want it to. And unfortunately, that has been to the detriment of McConkey one, I think there's a bit of a sophomore slump element to it of like he doesn't seem quite as sharp as he was last year, but also, he's getting the same number of targets, but maybe it's not quite in the same way. So, if they're trying to kind of shut him down, but then you see Johnston thriving on the outside, getting touchdowns, 4 or 5, I think already to this point.
Yep.
Keenan Allen is the intermediate route monster and always has been for the entirety of his career. So it's unfortunate. I think we can just hope that it's going to be better. There's no guarantee. I'm optimistic it will at least be better, but will it be lad of last season? Probably not.
Probably not. Now, one thing I was going to throw to you, Ryan, we talked about Quentin Johnston on the show last week, and is he legit? And we all kind of said, we don't think he is, but it's starting to look really legit. And now I think defensive coordinators are starting to think, okay, maybe this is legit. And they start rolling coverage to Quentin Johnston, and that might unlock Ladd McConkey. What are your thoughts on that?
So I think it's going to be a hot hand thing. Because kind of like Chu said, if they start rolling it that way, they're going to have no problem going to Ladd. The thing that's disheartening is while he had the 7 target thing, his receptions have gone down every game since the beginning of the season. Like the trend line of total targets and catches is going down. But again, matchup bases, how the game's going. If Quentin Johnston keeps killing it deep and making big plays, is he going to roll coverage that way? I think Keenan Allen, to your point, may have walked into the role that Ladd was in last year.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at the snaps yet, but he thrived in the slot last year, and we all know Keenan Allen is the slot guy in the NFL and has been for the better part of a decade. So I think that could be something affecting it as well. And it makes me think, just kind of talking through this now, makes me a little bit more brighter for the future, dynasty-wise. Maybe not as much this year, but how many more years till Keenan Allen retires?
It's got to be
No more than 7, 8, 12, 52. Like, he's bound to retire before Ladd McConkey, I hope. But, like, on a serious note, it should open up for him because he's not going to be that big of a part of his offense.
Yeah, I agree. And I almost, I hate to put it out there, but Keenan Allen is an older receiver. Injury could play a part as well. I mean, he might get a soft tissue injury and miss part of the season, and Ladd McConkey steps back into the role that he was in. So it could help him out there as well.
I mean, geez, have you seen the guy's collarbones?
Yeah,
terrifying.
For sure.
Oh.
All right, let's get our next topic. All right, this one is about Chase Brown. It is from Chris O'Brien. He's at 17 Game Pace on Twitter. He says, the coolest part about having Chase Brown in your lineup is when the Bengals go on a bye, you can just randomly choose a guy from waivers and get the same amount of points. So we're just kind of laying it on thick here with Chase Brown. Yeah. So, Ryan, do you see any light at the end of the tunnel for any of those Chase Brown? I mean, he's getting like 83 or 84% of the snaps in the backfield, and he's just not doing anything with it at all. Do you think they find a way to unlock him?
I mean, in theory, you have to, right? But this offensive line is absolutely atrocious. There's a limited fear of the passing game because one QB has no time. So those wide receivers or deep threats can't get deep to stretch the field out. I don't feel good. There's no real touchdown upside. Most games, because their defense is so bad, is going to lean more towards passing. Unless he gets very involved in the passing game, which not trending that way, I see no light this season. Maybe next year they'll smarten up, but this year, I don't want any parts of them.
Yeah, that's the weird thing, right? I mean, last year he was really involved in the passing game, and this year it's almost like he's just a forgotten man. I think his high targets is 5 targets. Otherwise, it's like 3 targets, 3 targets, 3 targets, and he's just not really involved. Any light at the end of the tunnel, you think, for this guy, Chu?
No, I mean, literally the only note that I wrote, I looked at stats. I mean, I know how bad he is. Thankfully, I don't have him. I don't think anywhere actually redraft this year.
Zero shares.
Yeah,
across 13 leagues.
But my only note was I just wrote it's not good. Like I keep checking in every week, and I'm just like, you have to believe with what happened last season, something can work out. Like Browning needs an outlet. He needs like even just dump offs and that. It's like it just has not resulted in anything meaningful for any of those guys, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm with y'all. Unless he gets involved in the passing game, unless things change drastically and Browning becomes a check down quarterback and just checks down to him in PPR, I don't see touchdown upside. I don't see him being very good in the run game because the offensive line is terrible. It's going to have to come from the PPR side of things. And I think the only way he's going to do that is if Browning decides to start checking it down. But yeah, pretty
He
brutal.
should for his livelihood,
Yeah.
so he doesn't die behind that line. But
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely. All right. Our next topic is so this is a Burrow / Lamar trade. It's a little bit more complicated than that. Actually, you know what? This is again a mislabel. This one's actually talking about Tyler Warren. This is from Bryce DeGroat at NFL_combo. He says, tight ends, I'm taking over Tyler Warren rest of season. Trade McBride. That's it. End of list. Obviously, redraft. Do y'all buy that? I mean, that's over, Brock Bowers. It's, over some other pretty good tight ends. Jake Ferguson, I think right now is the tight end 1 in fantasy, but he's talking about Tyler Warren rest of the season. The only one guy above him is Trey McBride. What are your thoughts, Chew?
I mean, yeah, certainly Trey McBride over him. I think it's not an outrageous thing to say. I think considering what Tyler Warren showing what he did at Penn State, and then the Colts investing what they did in him, and then using him very much in the same way of like, we will throw you the ball, we will hand the ball off to you. You can be the center of this offense, and that's in an offense with Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman being used correctly. I mean, honestly, for all of the love that everybody has had for Josh Downs and his ascension since he joined the league, Warren is basically just taking a lot of that work that's going to be the shorter and over the middle of the field, and he's a yak monster. So, I mean, I would certainly rather have Warren churning down the field than Josh Downs, but it's also a good problem to have if Downs is an ancillary receiver piece in that offense. Like you said, Ferguson, another guy who I just like and who I think can go nuclear at any moment, Tucker Kraft. But I think with where we are so far, like Ryan had said about Matthew Golden, I do think some of these other guys are going to kind of step up a little more. I mean, we saw Romeo Doubs have 3 touchdowns last week, which is not sustainable, but it happened. So yeah, if you're asking me point blank, I would agree with that statement. Trey McBride, and that's it.
Yeah, and then Tyler Warren right after that. And one thing I want to talk about, Ryan, real quick too, is the trend lately. So 2 years ago, it was Laporta, tight end rookie, had a big season. Last year, of course, Brock Bowers balled out. This year, it's Tyler Warren. Are we seeing a change where college tight ends can come into the NFL and succeed, or is just these 3 guys are just that good?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think in college, a lot of teams don't build around their tight end and focus around the tight end. Now that the spread offense has become bigger, especially in college, these big body move pieces, tight ends who aren't quite inline guys, are that focal point and that involved early on, and that's translating really well to the NFL. And the NFL is also moving more towards that move piece tight end, where they're not expected to block, which kept a lot of good players off the field when they were younger.
Yeah, agreed. And I think with Bryce DeGroat says here about Trey McBride being the only one above Tyler Warren, I think it's a fair statement. I do think there's some other guys that you could still put in there if Brock
Yeah,
Bowers can get back in the mix.
I don't trust his knee though, or that offense.
Yeah, fair.
Jake Ferguson's a good argument, but I wouldn't personally take Jake Ferguson over him. But like, I understand the argument because he's such a huge piece of that offense.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if it changes when CD Lamb comes back, if it goes back to being the third piece in there with Pickens sort of getting a little bit more work now. All right, let's get our next topic on the board. Hopefully they're not mislabeled like the other 2 have been. I think they're off by 1. Yep, so this is another mislabel. So I must have been off by 1 when I was labeling these. But this one's from Dynasty Zoltan. This was the one that was supposed to be on the last slide for Joe Burrow / Lamar Jackson. So this is a trade offer here. And this is a Dynasty. So first package is Joe Burrow, a late 26th first, and 2 late 26th thirds. So we can almost eliminate those because, I mean, they're pretty much useless. But the other side of that is Lamar Jackson and Devonta Adams. Which side of that would you take here, Chew?
And
It's essentially Joe Burrow in a first for Lamar Jackson and Devontae Adams. And there's 2/3 thrown on the Burrow side for good measure.
I mean, I'm going to stick with Jackson and Adams. I know Adams, I think, is 32. So I know we know we don't have too much longer for him in the NFL, but I think he's at least at worst in a good situation to where he can be second fiddle in a touchdown machine next to Puka Nacua. And with Jackson, I mean, if you're going to get a quarterback that's, pass heavy, like a Joe Burrow, that's him, Baker, some of these guys that are probably the best options that you can get that have the volume year in and year out to warrant being a top 10 quarterback. But Lamar Jackson, I mean, it's just game breaking upside on a weekly basis if healthy. Obviously, he might be missing this upcoming week. So I'm going Lamar Jackson rushing upside all day.
All right. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, the rushing upside, even on his bad games, he still produces. It's not even close. Burrow has to have 450 yards, 4 touchdowns to make up for the lack of rushing. And he's in an offense that's a mess right now, and an organization that's a mess right now. I mean, Baltimore's not much better right now, but you can see the light at the end of the tunnel one compared to the other.
Yeah, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is Joe Burrow's third sort of major injury where he's missed a bunch of games, right? I mean, I think he had a season-ending injury in his rookie year, and then 2 seasons ago he only played 10 games, and then this year he's probably going to play even less than that. So that has to be a factor as well, that
He's just a ton of games.
Just can't stay on the field. And Lamar Jackson, for all the running and everything he does, he's been relatively healthy. And like y'all mentioned, the rushing upside definitely trumps it all because, like Brian said, he can have a bad game passing and still get you, 70 yards and a touchdown on the ground, and you're still good with it. So, yeah, I think I'm sticking with Lamar Jackson, even with the first thrown in there. Maybe if it was a second first, I might consider it. But
There's 2 firsts in Burrow, maybe.
Mm.
But even Adams doesn't really move the needle. If it was Lamar for Burrow at first, I'm still taking Lamar just because of what he does and how much guaranteed it is.
Agreed.
And with, like I said, they're a mess this season, and it's still was his highest scoring offense before last week.
Yep. Agreed. All right, we got time for a few more topics here. All right, we're just going to ignore all the labels that I put on there. This one is from Jeff Bell, and this one we talked about Jamar Chase enough, so we can just quickly go through this one. But I thought it was funny. He's like, I mean, Jamar Chase had a 38% target share, so I mean, he's still getting the target share, but when they're brutal targets and there's not a whole lot to go around, it's not really that good. Anything we want to talk about Jamar Chase before we move on? Because we already kind of beat him to death already.
No, like I said, Patrick Surtain, backup quarterback.
Yeah, that's tough to contend with for sure. All right. Is ranking Gibbs RB1 rest of season being stubborn? The usage, the offense, etc. looks amazing. Just haven't gotten the monster game yet to close the production gap to JT, Bijan, CMC, and James Cook. So are you buying that Jahmyr Gibbs could end up being the RB1 rest of season with the amount of workload and how that offense looks, Chew?
No, not at all. And I can understand it of if you're going into the season, I get the stubbornness of it. No, that's my guy. And it's not like he's doing terribly. So it's not like you're saying he's fallen off in a Chase Brown type of way. But unfortunately, while he has maintained the 1A role in getting over 50% of the snaps, and I think probably at least 13 to 15 touches in total each week, Montgomery is still there, and he still has sustained his role. And I know we were kind of curious to see after Ben Johnson left, what was the offense going to look like? It looks perfectly fine, but we also see it's been pretty steady with what the running back usage has been, and that's essentially has been regardless of what the matchups have been. I mean, I think in week 1, I want to say Gibbs had 10 targets, and we've seen that just trickle back down to more reasonable, more likely numbers in the single digits. So on a week-to-week basis, you don't know really what you're going to get in terms of how is he used as a pass catcher and everything, but it's CMC over him. I mean, who else? It's CMC, James Cook, Jonathan Taylor. I would honestly probably put Gibbs in that. Yeah, he's right at RB5 right now, I think.
Yeah.
I think he's right here. Like, I think he's properly where he's going to finish one or
He
two
might climb to
spots
4.
either way.
Yeah, I don't.
Maybe 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe 7. Like, he's in the right range.
Yeah.
You can, if you drafted him as your first running back, you're happy. You should be happy.
Mm.
Like, it was the right move. And you're getting the right production.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think the 4 guys he lists there are 4 guys that get pretty much the entire workload, right? It's going to be hard for him to contend with that. He's going to have, a ton of amazing games because, JT, Bijan, CMC, Cook. I know Bijan's got Tyler Algier behind him, but, I mean, it's pretty much Bijan's show. Algier just comes in to spell him, but those 4 guys get a huge workload compared to what he's getting. So, still, yeah, like Ryan said, you're still happy with him. If you took him as your first running back on the board, he's got double-digit games all season so far, every single game. So nothing wrong with Jahmyr Gibbs, but RB1 rest of the season might be a little bit stretch. Let's do one more here. All right, this one is again from Bryce DeGroat at NFL_convo. He's talking about this is an interesting stat. Roma Dunze, who is wide receiver 3 currently, is closer to Ricky Pearsall, who's wide receiver 21, than he is to Puka Nacua at wide receiver 1. So let me read that again. Roma Dunze, wide receiver 3, is closer to wide receiver 21, Ricky Pearsall, than he is to Puka Nacua at wide receiver 1. Just in general, how good has Puka been, Ryan? I mean, that's a pretty crazy stat, right? I mean, he's the receiver 3. He's closer to 21 than he is to 1.
So points per game wise, it's a 7-point difference or 8-point difference. It's Puka, then Amon-Ra, and then everybody else. Puka's been fantastic, and I just think a lot of this is more just shows how deep wide receiver is right now. Like between your top 20 receivers are between 13.7 and 19 points a game. Like it's a touchdown difference between a lot of guys.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, if you went to 13 points to 19 points, it's 23 wide receivers.
Wow.
Like in PPRs. That's a lot. It's a lot of really good players right now. I think it just talks to the depth of it, of the position.
For sure.
And shows buying opportunity too.
What about you, Chu? What are your thoughts on this stat with Puka Nacua being so far above the wide receiver 3?
I mean, it speaks to his dominance. I mean, just the double-digit targets. He only has 2 touchdowns on the year, and one of them is a rushing touchdown. Like,
Yeah.
he's every bit of what people were hoping for when they're like a healthy season of Puka Nacua and a healthy Matthew Stafford, Devontae Adams keeping people honest, so it's not just a nobody on the other side. Like, this is what we all wanted, and the fact that we're actually getting to see it play out is pretty incredible. But like Ryan was saying, wide receiver is a very deep position, especially in today's more wide open offenses, to where you can have these guys to where it's a very, very massive tier where, in redraft and drafts, did you get your guy early or could you just wait 2 rounds and probably get the same production?
Yeah, absolutely. And Puka was it's funny you mentioned the 2 touchdowns because we did a couple futures. We did a show on futures, and one of them was Puka Nacua over under 5.5 touchdowns, and I took the under, and I got killed for it. And I mean, I know he's got 2 right now, so he's going to get to the point where he gets over 6, but he's not a touchdown guy, and he hasn't been his entire career. He just gets crazy volume. We know Matthew Stafford loves to target his number 1 receiver relentlessly. It used to be Cooper Kupp. Before that, it was Calvin Johnson. I think Golden Tate was in that mix at one point. So Matthew Stafford is just a guy who loves to target his number 1 receiver.
Without looking real quick, who do you think second in targets to Puka?
Um,
Because I clicked on it because I saw Puka had 50. I wanted to see who next closest was.
I'm gonna guess
It's 43.
I'm gonna guess JSN, but I don't really know if that's accurate. No.
It's
Garrett Wilson?
He's third.
Oh.
Chris Olave.
Ooh.
Wow.
PPR darling.
So if you're chasing targets, it's not fully there yet because the yards and efficiency's bad, but the targets are there,
Yep.
Yeah, Rattler is no Matthew Stafford, right?
right?
Olave
That's
having his
cra-
Wandale year.
dude. 43 targets for him right now is crazy.
That is crazy. Wow. All right. Let's get to our next segment.
Prop bet of the week.
All right. Our prop bet of the week. Make your call, hit your picks, and win big with Underdog Pick'em. Sign up using promo code GF2 to get up to 1,000 bonus bucks. That's free money to start winning today. Today's theme for our prop bet of the week is pass, catch, run, which essentially means we are taking the leaders in passing yards, leader in receiving yards, and the leader in rushing yards, and we are going to make our picks here. And Ryan, you get the first one here. And Dak Prescott currently by, I think, 5 yards is the pass leader currently. And his line is higher or lower than 241.5. And he gets the New York Jets this week. What are your thoughts here on Dak?
I am going to take the over on it. We saw Aaron Rodgers light them up, and nowhere near what Dak's doing. Dak's hit it he's hit it 3 straight weeks. The only week he didn't was against Philly, who's just a whole different breed of defense and football team. I'm gonna take Dak on the over.
I like it. And I did bury the lead a little bit. We hit our parlay last week. We hit all 3 legs for the first time of the season, so that was a nice little win for us. Hoping to make it 2 in a row. And Chew, you get Jonathan Taylor, who we just talked about a little bit. He's going up against the Las Vegas Raiders. Higher or lower, 89.5 rushing yards. And it was 87.5 earlier today. It's gone up to 89.5 last I checked. So we need to get it locked in here pretty quick before it gets too high. It is currently, let's see, Jonathan Taylor. Yes, still at 89.5. So you going higher or lower here?
Well, first off, glad we're hitting on one of these and hope it keeps going. So keep the Christmas bonus going up, up, up. This one feels to me like a huge trap. So he's got thus far at 71 yards, 165 yards, 102 yards, and 76 yards through the first 4 weeks. And looking at the Raiders who they're going against, it's been pretty slim pickings for the people that have played him. And the closest to actually get to this, again, none of them no single player has actually reached this through 4 weeks against the Raiders. The closest is actually Jeremy McNichols with 78 yards, and that was on 4 carries, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, 1 big carry in that mix.
So I know Jonathan Taylor's having a tremendous season. I think he's going to have a very good game here, but I don't think it's going to be getting to that, especially when you said the 89. If it was still at 87, I'm still taking the under on it, but that makes me feel even better that it went up like that. So,
all right, so you're going against the field there and taking lower. I like it. Because no one likes to do. We get a lot of these, and we always do over because we want to see points, and no one wants to take the under because it's boring and not exciting. But I like it. I like your conviction. All right, and I get the aforementioned leader in pretty much every category right now except touchdowns, Puka Nacua, and his line is set at 91.5 receiving yards. And originally, I was going to take the over, and then I saw that Brock Purdy, Jawan Jennings, and Ricky Pearsall are all ruled out. I don't see a situation where my team can make this game competitive, or they need to throw the ball. So I think it's going to be Puka Nacua for the first couple quarters, and then we're going to see a ton of Kyron Williams just to run the game out. So I'm going to take actually the under on his receiving yards as well. The 91.5 seems a little bit too much for a game that I don't think is going to be particularly close. And I guess it's giving me an error message. The following projections are inactive. Dak Prescott's yards. It changed. So Dak Prescott actually went down a little bit. So it's at 240.5, Ryan. So now you're taking the higher. You got an extra yard there as we were talking. So
good thing we waited it out.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So we'll drop our $5 on there to pay out for 30, and we'll confirm it. And I'll run it back one more time. Dak Prescott higher than 240.5 passing yards. Jonathan Taylor lower than 89.5 rush yards, and Puka Nacua lower than 91.5 receiving yards. Hoping to make it 2 weeks in a row that we hit that. All right, it is time to get to our fan favorite of the night.
Get ready for GoingFor2.com's Forgotten Fantasy Player of the Week.
All right, so last week Ryan stumped me and Chew pretty good. He had a guy that we should have gotten. I think we should have gotten it sooner, but it was a very good one. So Chew, who you got for your Forgotten Fantasy Player? Give us your hints.
He is. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so to start, I'll see how I need to break these down because there's some things I might do it out of order how we normally would do it, just because I think a couple of clues might give it away normally.
There's no order to this.
Yep, however you want to do it. You can
Yeah.
you want. You can say what city he was born in for all we care.
I should look that up real quick. All right, so to start out, it is a wide receiver who was a second round draft pick in 2005.
2005 second round pick. That's bringing me back. That's before I really followed the draft 100% too, so that's going to be tough.
I did not realize he was a second rounder. So, yeah, that kind of thing I was like, I didn't even really kind of consider where he would have been picked, but
Braylon Edwards.
no. Ironically, I did look at him though, of a possibility.
Yeah. Brian is in your head. All right, give us another hint.
All right. He played for 12 years on 2 teams.
12 years, 2 teams.
Marcus Colston.
No.
Steve Smith Jr. No. All right, give us some more.
So for these 2 teams, one is NFC and one is AFC. And if I remember correctly, I think it was 7 years and 5 years. So it's pretty equal for each of the teams that he had played for in terms of amount of time played.
All
Eric
right.
Decker.
Another guy I looked at too, though.
Oh, you Ryan is in your head.
7 years, 5 years.
12 years is a long time. So if he was a second round pick in 2025, that means what's that? 2017 that he retired?
It might have been 16. 16 was his 16 was his last year.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Michael Floyd.
All right, I'm gonna need some more.
Keep going. Yeah, this is we're still pretty obscure.
All right, so he reached the 1,000 receiving yard mark 6 times in his career: 2008, 2009, and then 2011 to 2014.
And you said AFC was his first team, and he went to the NFC.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, who he was drafted by in 2005 was an AFC team for I think about 7 years, and then the last 5 years.
Oh, he went AFC. I went backwards. I think went NFC to AFC. So AFC to NFC.
He may not have even given that hint. I just asked for it. I don't think he actually told us what order it was.
That works out.
So AFC to NFC. Let me go through the AFC teams in my head. I can think of a bunch of NFC to AFC, but I can't think of a lot of AFC to NFC.
I can give you a clue that will basically tell you what the teams are without specifically telling you the teams.
Sure.
All right, let's hear it.
So his quarterback in his first season was Drew Brees, and his quarterback in his final season was Jameis Winston.
So Chargers, Bucks, Vincent Jackson.
Yep.
Yes.
Good job, Jeff.
I was like, hold on, because I do a lot of those challenges where it shows just the order of the guys that go in.
Yeah.
This is their career path, and you got to guess it. Once you give me those 2 teams, I was able to figure it out.
That's why I was worried. I was like, there's a couple people I must pick, and I'm like, they didn't plan enough teams where it's going to be really obvious once I say who the team is.
Right.
I also didn't know he went to Northern Colorado.
I did not know that either. That would have
Big Sky.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. He was only 6'5". He was like this.
Yeah, he was ginormous.
Yeah, I remember
pinnacle of the big-bodied athletic receiver. Yeah.
Yeah, when he first got to Tampa Bay, they had I think Mike Evans was there. I think OJ Howard. They had like a really tall, everyone was 6'5" or taller. It was like a basketball team.
Yeah, they're there together.
Yep, crazy. Good one, man. I like it. All right, that wraps the podcast up. We'll go around the room. Give us your Twitter handle and plug whatever you're working on. We'll go to you first, Chew.
Yeah, you can check me out on Twitter at Father Dynasty and check out fatherdynasty.com for the Substack, which is the weekly articles, the weekly podcast, and anything else that's going on is likely going to be over there. So check it out.
Good stuff, Ryan.
Find me here every Wednesday. Find me over the Rookie Big Board. Our podcast comes out Monday. We film on Sundays now, so normally my mid-mental breakdown during the show. So come see, it's fun.
Good stuff. Obviously, you can follow me on Twitter at Geoff Lambert 77, and I don't plug it often enough. But the Discord server, I like to say it's the biggest and most active free fantasy football Discord server out there. I'm in a couple paid Discord servers that are not as active as ours. So if you want to get into a Discord server, we've got 50 fantasy coaches to answer your questions. Over 200 verified analysts are also in there because of the Scott Fish Bowl. We got a lot of those guys that have joined over the years in there as well. And we have a forum style setup. So instead of just being a long chat roll with a bunch of questions and your question gets lost, it's a forum style. So you essentially create your own topic, and everything under that topic is all about your statement. So makes it pretty cool. You can go check it out. Find the link in my Twitter handle. You can also find it at goingfor2.com. And you can see it's right there on the corner as well. So, all right, for Ryan, for Chew, I am Geoff, and we will see y'all next week. Good luck in week 5.